Hey guys, it's Dobbo here. Now, the NRL season might be over, but that doesn't mean the fun can't stop with Ladbrokes. Now, our great friends at Ladbrokes, you go and download the Ladbrokes app. You can join Mates Mode. We'll be having a little flutter over the Spring Carnival, and also with the Ashes series coming up, go and join our pot, Inside Ball, and just watch this space. But if not, just get on, download the Ladbrokes app and join it today. I absolutely love Ladbrokes. I get on, I have a little flutter most weeks. Sometimes you go well, sometimes you even go better when you're with the Rainmaker. But hey, go and join it today. Yeah, go and join it today. Enjoy it. We've got lots more coming on. Go to the little bullseye where it says more, then you hit Mates Mode, then you go Inside Ball, join the revolution. This bloke had an amazing career. Not only was he a premiership player at the South Sydney Rabbitohs, he played for his state, Queensland. He'd born in New Zealand. He somehow managed to play rugby for England and the British and Irish Lions. He is one of the good guys of the rugby league. He was an enforcer, a lunatic. He's had some blues. He's a lover now, not a fighter. Ben Teo, thank you for being on Inside Ball. No Kevie, but congratulations, mate, on an amazing career. I'm going to say that. Everybody sees you as a coach now, but people don't realise what an unbelievable career you had.
Well, listing all that, I think I tried to tick every box.
You did.
Yeah, I definitely tried to experience everything. I think that was part of my DNA and my thought process.
So how does a boy growing up in Auckland end up here today? Can we just talk about your childhood? You grew up, mum and dad, brothers. How did you end up in Australia? How did this happen?
Well, I think in New Zealand, growing up, everyone played, rugby union, but we also played rugby league. So I was someone that just played both sports. Yep. I never saw them as that different. To be honest, in my hometown, we had a great rugby club in Silverdale and a great rugby league club in the Hibiscus Coast Raiders. So I used to chop and change, so I had a love for both. And I think when you get to that point where you're getting around 15, 16, that's when you start making rep sides, making New Zealand under 16s. And then, I got signed by the Warriors. Didn't have a great time there in the academy.
Yep.
Got injured, got surgery, got released. Look, when you're a Kiwi kid and you run out of options with them, it's time to go to Australia. So that's how I ended up going over to the Gold Coast, going to Keebra Park High School.
Did you leave your family?
Left everyone, just left at 17 years old, packed up and went.
11 and 12 or just year 12?
I just did year 12.
So who'd you stay with?
They had Keebra had a house there at the time. They had a big house where all the footy players would come, and there'd be kids from Northern Territories, from Caloundra, from New South Wales and New Zealand that all come, and there'd be about 6 or 7 of us living in the house. So that was just an opportunity to go there, play football, and try and make the big time. So I took that opportunity and lived in that house. And I think the best part about being in that house was, by the time I got to that house, this was 2005.
Yeah.
And the club at that, the school at that time, Keebra, was West Tigers.
Right.
So
They win a
05, they're roaring.
Yeah.
And Benji's playing lights out. Now, he was in that same house 2 years earlier.
Stop it.
So I'm sitting in this house and we're watching the West Tigers on TV. And I'm thinking, he was in this house. He was in that room upstairs 2 years ago.
Who was in the house with you?
He's in my house.
Yeah. Is there anybody you played?
No one that's kicked on. No one that's kicked on. But previously before me was Sam Moa, Rangi Chase, and before them was Benji.
Yeah.
So sort of seeing that it's so close, give you that opportunity to work hard. Had a great coach there in Greg Lenton who brought a lot of good players through, and then went to the West Tigers.
Okay, you go to the West Tigers. It must have been. They come off winning a comp.
Well, I don't know if that's a good thing or.
I think it would have been hard. I feel like the guys who are going to Brisbane next year, it's hard because they're going into a premiership side. But there's nothing to say they can't go back to back. But the West Tigers, who's in that side? Todd Payton,
Yeah.
Benji, Heinington, Scott Prince,
Brett Hodgson.
Yeah.
Unbelievable side, and by the time
Were you 18?
Yeah, I was 18. So I got down there end of 2005. They've just won a comp. I'm turning up there and I'm playing Jersey flag, but just sort of, looking back now, like you're getting to a team that's just a young team that's just climbed the mountaintop. Yeah. So, a lot of accolades and money and big contracts are coming in, and, never reached those same heights since. But for me, being exposed to a great coaching staff, Tim Sheen's giving me my debut, spending time there, coming through the system with, guys like Robbie Farah, Benji Marshall, just sort of seeing how talented they were. Look, that was great for me. But in the end of the day, I always wanted to go back to Queensland.
Yeah.
Obviously, I had a great experience at Keebra Park High School. And at that time, once you got to Keebra and you signed a scholarship, that meant you had to go to West Tigers.
Yeah. So how long were you signed at the West Tigers for?
I was there for 3 years. So I played Jersey flag, and then the following year was into first grade for 2 years, and then came to Brisbane.
Remember your first game?
For the West Tigers? Yeah. My debut game was versus the Dragons at Accor Stadium. Yeah, I do remember that. Come off the bench. And then my second game was versus the Warriors in New Zealand, like getting to go back there and play and score my first try. So it was
So you come to Brisbane. How did that happen? How did, obviously there was, how did you get a contract to Brisbane?
Well, I was down at the West Tigers, and as I said, I always wanted to play back in Queensland. And at that time there was that coaching changeover between Wayne and Ivan Henjak. And funny story, but I asked my manager at the time about getting to Brisbane. Are Brisbane interested in me? I would like to go there. I was told that no, they're not interested. Let's just re-sign and extend at the West Tigers. So I sacked him, and I jumped on the phone and jumped on the email and took over my own affairs and managed myself. At 21 years old.
You're kidding.
Yeah, and I got in contact with the Broncos and said, well, I just want to know, are you keen? And they were keen, and I sort of talked to a few clubs, but essentially I managed myself and done my own deal to come to Brisbane. That's how much I wanted to come to Brisbane.
Do you know how rare that is at 21? Yeah. Was that hard? Were you nervous? Or
Well, it's probably my personality, but if I want to do something, I'll just go do it. It's like, if you're not going to help me, you just move out of the way. I actually don't know what I'm doing, so I'm just going to write these emails. I just want.
Who was the CEO at that stage?
For the Broncos?
Or
no,
Bruno?
That was Bruno.
So you had to email Bruno and Ivan?
I emailed Bruno. I emailed whoever it was. I think it was Pete Nolan was doing recruitment. I just sent around a few things, and I got some hits. So that's sort of where I wanted to go. And I saw myself as, if I'm a right back row, I'm going to be standing next to Darren Lockyer, Justin Hodges, and Israel Folau was coming to the club.
Stop it.
That was the right edge.
Yeah.
For round one.
You want to be there.
I want to be there. Yeah. So I just got myself there.
So you go to Brisbane. Are you in the centre? Are you living in the centre of excellence at this stage? Are you in that house?
Not at that stage. No, I created that a couple of years after.
So where you come back? What do you stay? Who do you stay? You get a flat. What happens?
Yeah, no, I got a flat. Kurt Richards, he's at the Dolphins now. He was just starting at Brisbane Broncos. He was obviously my teacher at Keebra Park High School. So we got a place together in the Iceworks across the road from Suncorp, and I stayed there. And just got into Brisbane life and really just enjoyed that whole. That was my first going to Suncorp and
playing.
I never forget my first game for the Broncos was playing the Cowboys. We always played the Cowboys round one.
Yeah.
And just running out of the tunnel and just looking up to the top tier and just seeing it packed. I think that's when you become addicted to sporting life in Brisbane, and especially at the Broncos. So that was something that I did, and I'll be honest, when I got myself to Brisbane, I was so happy, and I thought that I'd just play out the rest of my career here.
So what happened? 3 years. What happened? 4 years. I know you're a bit of a rat bag and there's a bit of off-field crap and stuff like that, but your footy was still pretty good. Why did you leave?
I think really it was about opportunity at the time.
You were coming off the bench.
Well, Hook had taken over the coaching role. He was obviously head coach of the 20s prior. So there was an unbelievable crop of kids coming.
Gillo,
Alex Glenn. Mac was there.
Honey.
Big Show.
Yeah. Oh, Big Show was there.
They were all coming through, right? And he had a real great relationship with all of them. So I think there was a time around 2011, 2012 where, I was just fighting for minutes, all the time. I just remember me and Gillo being on the bench a lot and getting bugger all minutes. And I just thought to myself, well, if he favours some of these other players over me, I need to make rep teams.
Yeah.
And if I'm not going to get the time, then I'm not going to make the rep team. I need to get the most out of my career. So as much as I never wanted to leave Brisbane, when South Sydney come knocking and Madge gave me the call, and I went and met him at his house in Sydney, and he pretty much said to me, you want to be an 80-minute back rower? I'll start you every week and you play 80 every week. I was sold. I was
big shift though for you, mate.
Yeah, big shift.
You started dating Connie, like you'd got all the rat bag stuff out here. You'd met your life partner. You lived in Brisbane. Brisbane lifestyle is a lot different to Sydney.
A lot different.
You're a big dog in a small pond here. That would be saying, like, as a Broncos player in Brisbane,
you get a lot of drink cards.
You get a lot looked after, and then you have to go to Sydney and fend for yourself to a club that you don't know, with a new coach that's had turmoil. Like, Madge went in there, it was tumultuous when he went there.
Well, when I signed the contract, I wasn't thinking about anything more than playing 80 minutes every week. I didn't think Souths were great.
Real.
And I had an agent at the time, and in fairness, he said to me, Benny, I reckon these guys are building something here. And in my head, I was,
Was that Isaac at the time?
Yeah, that was Isaac, yeah. And he said, he said, mate, trust me, I reckon they're building something. They've got a good squad. They're up and coming, all this stuff. And all I was thinking is, I just want to play 80 minutes. Like, I want to play Origin. I want to get in the Origin arena. But once I got there, obviously Greg's there and Sam's there. And
hang on. Let's just Sam.
Yeah.
Greg.
Yeah.
Isaac Luke.
Yeah.
Yourself.
John Sutton,
Reno.
Yeah,
Reno. Who else was in that? Sorry, Lottie. Lottie got there the following year.
Yeah, following year.
But
the twins were young then.
Yeah,
and Reno was young. Yeah. Like, Reno was a kid too. So, as I said, I get there, but I think the thing that stood out for me, like some of these Brisbane players would have found out, like my first preseason with Madge was like,
brutal,
mate. I couldn't believe that we could do that much work in a day. Like I couldn't believe how long we were there. And I was one of the players early days when I first got there. Like, I was blowing up. I was saying, mate, what is going on here? I getting here before the sun's up, and I'm leaving and the sun's down. Like,
was it that hard?
It was that hard. All I'd do was leave the training facility. There was a Woolworths across the road. I'd grab something for dinner. I'd drive home, eat it, go to sleep, wake up, I'm back at training again.
Yeah.
Like, I'd never, in 2 years there, I was with them for 2 years. I had never worked like that, ever. And I was just like, mate, it's crazy. Like, and there was a lot of pushback, and it's pretty funny now. It's pretty funny that me and Madge worked together, because when he come back, he said to me, Benny, you're the last player I thought that would be a coach, because I was the one that would push back the most.
On training?
On training, yeah.
Why is that? Because you are such a disciplined trainer and you're such a hard ass. Why is it as a player you used to push back?
Well, there's a limit. You know what I mean? Like, I used to say, like, how can I come in here in the morning and do, like a prehab, Pilates, and then I'm in the gym, and then I'm on the field, and then I've got lunch, and then I've got a meeting, and then you're telling me I'm going to a wrestling session for an hour and a half? Like, how are we fitting all this into one day? Like, it was ridiculous. But what I learned after was that, if someone can take you to those places, and as a team you all go there and you eventually accept it, that you can win things, and that's how you end up in October on that Sunday in those big games is through that hard work.
13, everybody talks about lost opportunity. Everybody talks about 13. You shouldn't have lost it.
Yeah.
We'll get to 14 in a minute. Do you think, do you look at that and go, we should have won that one?
Yeah, it's devastating because I thought, and a lot of people say this, I thought we had a better team in 13.
Yeah.
I thought we were a better team. I thought that was our year. And it's funny because I sit next to Matty Ballin at work, and sometimes we talk about it, and he says, every time I talk to a South Sydney player, they always talk to me about how devastated they are about 13 because they knocked us out in the prelim. Like, I mean, that one, like, shook me up bad. Like, I was, in a bad way after it. Actually had to leave the country. I was so devastated because, you put so much work, as I'm talking about, like the ridiculous work, and to not get it. I started to think to myself, if you put in that much work and you don't win, like, what do you have to do to win?
Yeah.
Like, where's the line?
Where did it go wrong, do you think? Because you went too hard? You guys were too invested? I just think there was a lot of pressure on South.
I think there was a lot of pressure built up throughout the year, and I always say this, it was one of the weirder days I've ever had on a prelim. I always go back, Madge's mum passed away that morning. No one knew about it, but you could feel something was off. Something was off, and he was putting on a brave face, and we got out to a great lead, and then essentially we choked. We froze up and we choked, and we stopped playing in the second half. And I think that's something we've all had to live with for a long time. And that was sort of the basis of the following year. 2014 was work just as hard, but the mental space, like, we can't ever let that happen again. So, yeah.
Banter as defined by a prelim in 2014. Is that your greatest game as a league player? I'll get to your Origin career in a minute, but
I think so.
Is your prelim game, like, you won them the game? You had to do something. You had this bloody thing on your arm, like, I don't know what was wrong with that. What was that? Like,
no, I didn't have I don't know if I had the arm guard then. Did I?
I reckon you had an arm guard.
I'm not sure. I just know that every player has a moment, like, somewhere.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And mine just was that day. It was that day, and I think
Reese's was the grand final. Like,
exactly.
So you have that. You have that day.
Hunty and Canberra has his moment.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And I just feel like that was my moment. That day that where I was coming off suspension. I had been separated from the team. South we come to an agreement that I shouldn't be around training while I'm suspended.
How long were you suspended for?
I think it was 2 or 3 weeks.
Why would you do that?
I left Sydney and I went to the Gold Coast to train. Because I was disruptive and all those things, I think they wanted to get me out of there. So I got out of there, left them to it, rocked back up on the week of the prelim. Madge put me on the bench. I said no worries, and we're down by 2 tries, and he puts me on. And as I said, I just have one of those games, and it sort of lifts the momentum, changes things,
everything,
and then we go on with it. But yeah, as I said, like, there's that thing that, like, players or athletes talk about, that flow state where you're just doing things and it's all working out. That's kind of what
you
happened.
Hit it.
Yeah, that's just one of those days. Yeah.
What was the grand final like? I mean, it's defined by Sam Burgess, James Graham.
Yeah.
Greg Inglis doing the go-outer after he scores the try.
Yeah.
I called that game. It was a crazy, crazy game.
Yeah.
What are your memories of it? Like, I mean, obviously jubilation because you win your first comp, but the South Sydney connection. George Piggins goes to the ground for the first time to watch it with Bart. Like, in rugby league.
Yeah.
It's such a significant night, and you're part of that.
Yeah. I mean, you talk about the drought and the history and all that, but I'll just never forget sort of, the build-up throughout the week in Redfern. And then, obviously, game day, and there's all these storylines, Sam and stuff like that. I mean,
poor Isaac Luke.
I thought George Burgess was best on ground.
Yeah.
He was phenomenal. But the best thing about it was the privilege to be in a big game and have it won, like, with 15 minutes to go.
You knew and enjoy it.
Enjoy it. Like, every try, walk back, and just a lot of tears, a lot of hugging, and just really enjoying that moment. if you compare it to, a week ago, we're defending for our lives.
Yeah.
We're defending for our lives. And Jordan
you can't really enjoy the last. You can't enjoy the last couple
until Jordan Ricky takes that intercept. It's over, and that's full time. But a very different situation for us.
Geez, you were aggressive. You were aggressive off the field at that stage. I always got on well with you, and that I don't know why. I think it was the Queensland thing we had to cover it, but you were prickly with media. That's a fair say, and that footage comes up with you telling Danny Wilder, I mean. It's very different to the Ben Teo I know now.
Who works in the media.
And who doesn't really have a lot of enemies. You're not. Nah. You're actually now you're not that competitive. Was it because you're a bit of a rat bag and the blokes just reported on it and you took offence to it and you're just that natural? What was it like? Because you were prickly with media.
Yeah. Oh, I just thought. I think you're right. I played the game aggressively and a certain way and to the max, and I wanted to live my off-field life exactly the same.
Yeah,
like I wanted to party. I wanted to party. I'll be out. Fights. I loved it. I loved
collision sport on and off the field.
Exactly. I loved the excitement of it, and I sort of wanted to enjoy every single part of it, and I definitely got everything out of it. But when you slip up and you get in trouble and the media comes after you, that was probably just me not dealing with that well and being prickly towards the media. But I understand now, working in it, that it's all just a bit of fun anyway. It's just a game. It's just entertainment.
Do you look back at those videos now? And I mean, you're not going to be great mates with everybody. I mean, you shake Danny Wilder's and you got no dramas at all. Yeah. But do you look back and go, geez, that's a whole nother lifetime?
That's a whole nother lifetime. Obviously, as a dad now and someone who's sort of, at times trying to give advice to the current Broncos players about how not to look like an idiot or how to deal with media, and then here's me, they come to me and I saw this TikTok of you last night, so. Yeah, I think we would all like to look back and say, I should have handled all that a lot better.
It was handled the way it was meant to.
I was young.
But you don't regret anything you did.
No.
But it's just handled the way it is. It's just funny now.
Yeah,
it's just funny.
I'm glad things weren't as full on as they are now.
Oh my God.
These guys have a lot more attention than we ever did.
Yeah. What was it like playing for Queensland in that time? What did you play, 6 games?
I played 7 games.
7 games?
Yeah.
What was it like?
Oh, look, I think for me it was, it's always described as the pinnacle. So I wanted to get there and see, what is this all about? And I wanted to be there. And I was always grateful of what Queensland had done for my development coming over to Kebra. And I think when I saw the calibre of players, I wanted to be there. So for me, that's all part of why I like to coach now too, is when I was in that team at that stage, I love Mal Meninga. He set the sort of standard, but that team,
my God,
was a leaders-driven team.
My God,
from Cam, Billy, Cooper, JT,
they keep on going, mate.
They drove that thing, and took a lot out of it. Koza, yeah.
Jeez, it was good.
Yeah, it was a great team.
You enjoy Origin?
I did enjoy Origin, but sometimes I look back now, I probably didn't really enjoy it as much as I should have, in terms of there was such an anxiety about winning.
Yeah.
There was such a build up about it, and at times then you don't always play to your best. My role was come off the bench, run hard, hit everything you see, and just empty the tank. I was sort of trying to lift that intensity, and I found that in Origin, that was one of the hardest places to do that, because it was so quick and stuff. But I absolutely love my time.
Still got your jerseys and everything?
Yeah, they're somewhere. I don't really keep a lot of that stuff.
You're not keeping all that kind of stuff, and you very much moved on. I remember your last game, Origin, and I couldn't believe it. You win the premiership, and you're done. You're like, I'm going to rugby.
Yep.
Why? When you could have kept on going. You could, you were highly sought after. You were wanted.
Yeah.
You played rugby as a kid, but why Isaac Moses, your manager, and yourself, you came up with it, and it was, mate, as history shows, it was the best thing you ever did. But why did you just pack up and leave?
Well, probably a little bit to do with the off-field stuff. Like, I was probably, as I said, living my life to the extreme on the field and off the field, getting in a bit of trouble, the media, all that stuff. But then the second part, and this is the main part, is I understood that because of my background, I got the opportunity to go play another code and travel and see something else. And as I said, I want to experience everything. So I'm understanding that I'm 27. I'm in my prime. Like, I've got to go now. I can't go 2 more years league and go at 29.
You had to go now.
I've got to go now. And it doesn't matter where I'm at in the stage or things are going great. It's like, nah, it's time to go. So that was it. I was going to rugby. I just wanted to play rugby union. I just wanted to play it. And the big question I had was,
were you good enough?
Was I good enough? Would I have been a professional rugby union player if I had just played that? I need to answer that. So
you and Connie packed up and away you went. And
packed up and went to Dublin. Was it weird
because you and Connie just left Australia?
And
Did you know anybody over there?
No one. I didn't even know what the team, like anything about the team or.
Who was the first team? Harlequins?
No, I went to Leinster.
Yeah, Leinster. Good?
It was great, but you win a grand final on Sunday, and you have the ball, the red and green ball on the Wednesday, I think, and Thursday I was on a plane.
That was it.
Gone.
League career over.
Done. Didn't even get to enjoy it really, bar a couple of days. Just was on a plane, land in Dublin, go to training, and then I was playing rugby the next weekend. It moved that fast.
You had success there, mate. You played for England. How do you end up playing for England?
Yeah.
Like, I still. What's the background there that you got to play for England?
Well, I'm half English. My mum's from England. She's born in London. A lot of my obviously extended family are all Poms, so that was something I always knew I had. That,
but no one ever talked about that.
No, I never really spoke about it. But I always knew I had the passport. If I wanted to go play Super League, it would be fine. But when I went over to Dublin to Leinster, I was just thinking about playing rugby. That's all I cared about. And then someone found out in England that I had the passport, and that's where it got rolling. Eddie Jones was the coach at the time. South Sydney fan. And he was keen on it. So that's sort of how it got the ball rolling and ended up playing for England.
What was that like?
Very proud moment. Obviously, as I said, I don't start my career thinking I'm going to play for England. But, to stand in front of 80,000 at Twickenham.
Sing God Save the Queen.
God Save the Queen. I think there's not really many things that sort of reach that pinnacle. And I had a great time there, played different roles, but at that stage, England were roaring. Like, we were one of the top teams in the world. We used to beat regularly the Springboks, the Wallabies.
Did you ever play the Wallabies?
Yeah, played the Wallabies.
Was that weird?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, actually played against Izzy Folau in his last game for the Wallabies. And we were living together 2 years prior, so it was weird.
You and Izzy played together for the Broncos.
We played together at the Broncos.
You lived together for a while.
When I was in Sydney at the Rabbitohs,
you lived
and
together.
He was at the Waratahs. We lived together for a couple of months, and we talked about me going to rugby. I'm going to go over to Europe and all that. And then fast forward 2.5 years, we're playing against each other at Twickenham, and I'm playing for England, and he's playing for the Wallabies.
Wow. And was that weird playing against the Wallabies? Like, I know you're not an Australian, but you played Origin.
Yeah.
So you have that, and you knew all those blokes.
Yeah, and I had a bit of a relationship with guys like Michael Checker.
Of course.
And so sort of playing against them was odd, but I just knew I was on a different journey at that stage. But yeah, I never forget playing in that game. Izzy gave me his jersey after the game.
Yeah, you've told me that.
Yeah.
You still got it?
Still got it, yeah.
You've got his last ever Wallaby jersey.
I've got, it's weird, isn't it? I've got Israel Folau's last ever worn Wallabies jersey. And he gave it to me that day, and that was the last test he played.
So how do you get to the British and Irish Lions from there?
So, I didn't know much about that either. But look, all that was happening was I was playing regularly for England. And
making good dough,
making good money, and enjoying life, and going on great holidays. And then the Lions tour's coming around, and they're going to New Zealand to play the All Blacks. And this is 2000 and what is that?
18, 19?
17.
Yeah.
And All Blacks are at their peak. They're 2 years off winning the World Cup. They're just humming. And for me, I was just like, wow, that's going to be a great tour. I don't know if I'm not going. But as it worked out, there's a few injuries, and I got selected and had a good tour and got to play in a couple of tests. And, yeah, I thought for us that was a weird one because we drew the series, which was odd, so we took a photo with the trophy together. But, to play the All Blacks in their absolute prime over there was just a phenomenal experience.
Who was the hardest bloke you played against there? Who was in that side? Who's in that side?
Well, Kieran Reid.
Richie's still there? Was he still there?
No, Richie was gone. So, yeah, like Sam Kane, Richie... who else was there? Well, the Bowden Barrett, all those guys. Ryan Crotty was a very crafty player.
You're a centre, by the way.
Yeah.
An edge forward in league, but a centre in union,
yeah.
which is crazy. We've got to get to it. You got booted out. You were going to be. You're going to a World Cup. And you punched your teammate. I don't know. Yeah, you're in a camp. You belted your teammate. So as much as your off-field stuff, you still had that little bit of. And am I right in saying I'm always right in saying I'm right in saying that you actually didn't think it was much in rugby league? Like there's plenty of times you've been at a dust up and it's just play on. So
yeah, you
never actually thought it was that big a deal.
No, I didn't. And I've spoke about it a couple of times, but obviously it was a pre-season or pre-competition camp. For the World Cup, there was a lot of players in the squad. Everyone was fighting for spots. I was actually injured at the time, so I had a pretty bad calf. Wasn't sure whether I was even going to make it to the World Cup through injury. Ended up having a drink at a beach club, got rowdy, few arguments, and obviously a little clip, and got put on the bus, everyone got sent back to the hotel, everyone had to go to bed. And yeah, I woke up in the morning like, geez, that was a big night or big day, but not thinking that it was going to be what it was. Yeah. And look, and there's two different cultures in rugby league and rugby.
Right, okay.
Like growing up in rugby league, like you get on the drink, and there's always a push and shove, and there's two teammates that have a dust up, and the boys usually by the next Monday it's sorted, and they're taking the piss out of each other, and it's a bit of a laugh.
Yeah.
But in rugby union, it wasn't like that. It was like, oh, this is a big drama, and within 12 hours, this thing had hit the press.
So they leaked it.
It was leaked. It was out there. It was all, So by the time you get back to England, it's everywhere. And, Eddie ended up making the call that we both weren't going to the World Cup. As I said, I was like almost a little bit shocked, like, geez, I didn't think it was that bad. Like, I mean, I've had a lot worse, like plenty of times in league, but, that's sort of what happened. But that's the two sort of different
Has Eddie ever talked to you about it since? Because you guys are mates now.
Yeah. I've sort of seen him around, and we have a lot of mutual friends, So, I mean, I've got no problem with Eddie at all. And he's a great coach.
Yeah.
And it's still doing well.
They didn't win the World Cup though, mate.
They didn't? No, they didn't. No. And they had a great run. I thought they played their best game in the semi-final versus New Zealand.
Yeah.
And that's sort of
they got beaten by the Springboks, right?
Got beaten by the Springboks, which started their role. So, look, they had a phenomenal run there. And
Did you ever speak to the bloke? Who was the bloke you clipped?
Mike Brown?
Yeah.
I haven't spoke to him.
There's no drama?
No drama. I don't have drama with people about something like that, and
just play on.
For me, it was just... It was a typical team social.
You come back. It's funny. You come back and you come back. Obviously, with that your rugby career. You wanted to get home. You're a young dad. Your family's everything to you. You and Connie. You've got 3 beautiful kids, and Brisbane's home. Like, it's weird. You finished your career at the Broncos, and it was.
Yeah.
I found it funny because I just saw you there one day having coffee in the cafe, and I'm like, "What are you doing back?" And you're like, just going to give it a go. And
COVID shut things down.
Yeah, and it was hard, right?
Yeah, COVID ended my rugby career. And what happened was, I remember I took a contract with Japanese Super Rugby team, Sunwolves.
Right. Yeah.
And which was great. It gave me an opportunity to just be back this side of the world for a bit. But then I was looking to go again. Yeah. I was happy to keep playing rugby. Never forget, I was playing a game at Suncorp Stadium. I think we were playing the Crusaders maybe. And at halftime, team manager came in, Webby, and he said to me, Benny, this is it. I said, what do you mean? He said, mate, after this game, this is the last game, the comp's shutting down, the borders are closing. And that was it. And that's when we went into COVID lockdown.
So did you stay in Brisbane then?
So I stayed in Brisbane. Perfect. I'm here.
Yeah.
So I stayed here, and this thing just dragged on and on and on. And people in the UK and France were in lockdown. And look, it was a nightmare. And so what I did was I rang up the Broncos and I said, hey, would you mind if I just come do weights
and train
over the road?
That's where I saw you.
And that's when I meet Reece, and that's when this whole thing starts happening. In the end, Brisbane say to me, look, because they had the bubble at the time, they say, we've got an extra spot in the squad. You can come in and, help us train, or, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Be extra hands, whatever. So I go in the bubble, mate, a week later I'm playing.
I couldn't believe it.
And I was just, I wasn't ready for it physically. And I know now, thinking back, I never should have done that. But the club were in a bad place at the time. We're talking 2020.
Yeah.
They had just come off getting smacked by the Roosters. It was 59-0 or something like that. And I got thrown out. And as I said, my probably love for Brisbane and the Broncos jumped in front of common sense.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to help this team and this young team. And they said, can you? And I said, no. But they said, come on. And I did it. And I just wasn't physically ready for it. And that's kind of how I summarize my back end of my time with Brisbane. Someone who was just trying to do for
helping out,
help and the club.
But there was part of you because you felt was there part of you because you felt like you owed it to them because you loved that club so much?
Yeah.
Which is awesome now that you're back as a coach there.
Yeah, and I think that one of the things is the cool things about coming back here is being able to give back, but obviously not through physically playing, but through helping. But I still remember, 2020 and just sitting back and feeling helpless and looking at a young kid like Tom Dearden and just looking at him being like, oh man, I don't want you to be in this situation. I want to help you. I'll try to do everything, but I can't help you. I can't help you win games right now. And, Paddy Carrigan was the same, and Payne and Katoni, and I always felt like guilt after that. And that was something that drove me pretty hard with my coaching.
So you weren't part of the baby shower reveal, were you? The reveal, were you?
No.
You had an injury, didn't you, at that stage?
Yeah, I didn't know what was going on.
You did a peck, didn't you? So what was you retired? 21 you retired?
21 retired.
So you're under Kevie for a year?
1 year, yeah.
And you got a bit of first grade, you had an injury. You ended up, am I right in saying your career came to an end off an injury, a peck?
Yeah. My career sort of...
I know, you were there to help.
It petered out. But the thing was after 2020, I went away and just put my body through the ringer in that off season.
Got yourself fit.
I got fit. I got back in shape, rugby league shape. Kev came in. I hit the ground running in terms of I was just ready to play off the bench, whatever you need me to do. But I really felt like I could then have an impact. And then, bang, tear my pec.
That was it.
And I just knew.
So was it hard to retire?
Sorry, tore my bicep.
Tore your bicep. Was it hard to retire?
No.
Once you did it, you were like, "That's it."
Yeah, that's
you literally transitioned straight away. You're like, "I'm done." Once
you start just tearing things, the funny thing is when your body starts to tear away, and you're just popping ligaments and stuff, tendons off your bones, you're just thinking this can't go on anymore. I can't handle the vigors of this game. My body's just not up for it. So as soon as that happened, I just thought, okay, what's next? Then I did a little bit of work. Kev used to get me to cut some film for the guys, and those guys are Pierre Cora, Xavier Willison, Jordan Ricky.
Yeah.
They were young kids coming through.
And you were cutting tape while you were injured,
while
still
I'm injured,
contracted.
I'm injured, still contracted, but Kev was like, can you help me cut up some stuff with their running lines and their defense and sort of tell them what you see. And so I was cut some stuff with them. I'd bring them in.
And that's where you got the bug.
And that's where I got the bug, because I saw a little bit of improvement in some of the things I was doing. And I thought, This is my avenue.
Amazing career. Any regrets?
No, not at all.
No, yeah. Some people say you lived it. You won a premiership. You won rugby. You won a Heineken Cup. Did you win a Heineken Cup?
No, I got to the finals, but Six Nations. Yeah, won a Six Nations.
Who's the best player in rugby you played with, and the best player in league that you played with? Like, doesn't matter for whatever reason, in your opinion.
Yeah. The best league player I ever played with was Greg Inglis.
Is that right?
I still think he's my number one.
Yep.
Multiple positions, and I think in rugby it would have to be Manu Tuolangi.
Yeah, right.
I would have to say he was probably the most impressive rugby player I've played with. Look, one guy is Johnny Wilkinson. I didn't get to play with him, but
got to know him.
Got to know him. I wish I could have had an opportunity to play with that guy. He's a special player,
mate. Hardest tackle you've ever been hit? You've hit a lot of people.
Who's hit me?
Yeah, who's hit you and you've just gone
Jamal Idris.
Is that right?
Yeah, mate. He was a beast. I remember him just sort of blind shotting me one day, and my legs just coming off the ground. He was super strong. He was a different level.
Amazing career. Thank you for being with us on Inside Ball.
Thanks, brother.
Cool.
Cheers.
Chances are you're about to lose. For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website